Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Band and Bettors. It is Thanksgiving week. We are a betting show where sports bettors can get more educated using data and winning more bets. Brad Kronthal here along with my brother and co-founder Spencer Kronthal. We are of Alloy Sports. Spencer, it is Tuesday. Thanksgiving is in 2 days. How pumped are you for the big day?
I mean, this is the best week of the year. We got football, we got turkey. What else could you want? And we're coming off a great week of week 11 as well.
Absolutely. Spencer, I think let's start with week 11. What was your favorite moment from a dynamic week? We had low scoring games. We had some crazy weather. We had a game moved from one location to another because of 30 inches plus of snow. How are you feeling and what was your favorite moment?
I mean, favorite moment was probably the most dynamic play of the entire weekend. Can we call it a walk-off punt return? Marcus Jones, 84 yards with 20 seconds left on the clock. You were talking a 3-3 game. I unfortunately had the Jets to cover the spread. I had them at 3.5 as well. So I was feeling pretty confident. Worst case scenario, these teams go to overtime, get the field goal. But Marcus Jones flipping the script, running down the sideline. How he didn't get pushed out, I don't know. But what a moment to cap that game.
Absolutely. I think my favorite moment of last week comes in a blowout. I'm talking about the Cowboys. They get Ezekiel Elliott back. They have Tony Pollard there, and they both were awesome. Elliott scoring 2 touchdowns, Pollard with a couple of reception touchdowns, and they blow out the number one seeded or number two seeded at the time, Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota, 40-3. That is a statement win, especially coming off a loss to Green Bay. I found that really inspiring from a Dallas team that's looking to get healthier. Micah Parsons, incredible. That's a really big statement. We talked about NFC East futures here in the past, and that was a big statement for Dallas, who, is coming for that division. Philly kind of struggled last week with the Colts. So interesting stuff there. And it's a great time this week to really start getting into our picks from last week. So, Spencer, I'm going to pull it up, but also let you kind of walk us through your week 11.
Awesome. Had quite a few games that came down to really close along the spread line. Had one that pushed with Chicago over Atlanta, but 3-2 on the week. Another profitable week. Nice 60% win percentage yet again. Taking Cleveland, barely sneaking in at plus 8.5. Got the 8-point loss, we'll call it. Had Tennessee, which was nice and clear with some of our stronger rushing strategies over Green Bay on the Thursday night game. Like I said, the Jets managed to blow that one for me at the end. And then I had the two West Coast teams. I had Vegas cover. Obviously they got the victory over Denver. And the Rams did not cover against New Orleans for me. But another strong week. I'm 22-16 now on the week, regardless of what it says up at the top. And looking to move forward with another strong slate of games this upcoming Thanksgiving week.
Yeah, I think our viewers and listeners don't need to hear another discussion about your record and how you over bet things on BetStamp, but we'll save that for another episode for sure. So I was really pumped about my week in week 11. Really probably should have ended it after Sunday, but I'll take where I am. So 5-2 week ATS. You'll see that I had an underplay. This was before this game got moved. So this ticket was voided, even though it shows up in my history. But started off with a Tennessee win. That one just felt right, and it was an easy win, no sweat. Cleveland, even in Detroit, they cover the 8.5-point spread. And then Detroit, really liked them this past week. They cover. Houston really sucks. They weren't even close. I thought they'd be able to play Washington coming off a high, and they could finally just maybe get a second one of the year. That didn't happen. Chicago, who I lost faith in early in the year, covers. Now, that was a tough line to get. 3.5. I found that line last week. A lot of people got in at +3, so that would have pushed. I finally get the good line there with the closing line value. And Vegas, they come through. And Arizona, felt good about them. Even with Colt McCoy, the line went up to +10 before the game and thought they'd be able to keep it close, maybe a backdoor cover, and it was an absolute demolishing of the Cardinals. So 5-2 week for me. I'll take that every day of the week. So overall record is 28-22-1 this season, above 500, making money, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, so you got the better line on that Bears game. I would have loved to go 4-2 this week, but at least one of us was able to capitalize on a little bit of line movement there.
You got to line shop. You got to look at different books, and that's why it's really, of your best interest to belong to a few different books because they might have a half point edge where you can, make a bet at one book versus the other. And it's the difference between losing the tax to the books and, not coming out a loser and making no money and coming out a winner. So that's always a big thing. So one thing I wanted to mention, Thursday night game or football games on Thanksgiving, nothing better. Got a couple trends that I found looking them up since 2004. The favorites straight up 43-8. Favorites against the spread 35-16. And this was really interesting. When you're a road favorite, you are 23-1 straight up in that same time frame and 19-5 ATS. So a few really exciting games for us to monitor this weekend. We got Buffalo playing their second straight game in Detroit, this time against the actual home team being the Lions, but now they're familiar with the turf there. You got the Giants in Big D, big divisional matchup, 2 7-3 teams. Then we close it out with a really exciting matchup, in my opinion, of New England and Minnesota, two teams really looking to, continue to move up in their respective conferences. So, Spencer, great Thanksgiving slate. Is there anything that stands out in particular? I know for me, that Buffalo-Detroit totals at 54. That's by far the highest total number of the week. What stands out to you?
I think for me, it's the trend you just said. Favorites are crushing it on Thanksgiving. Now, the road grader strategy, my drive extender strategy, both like the Giants to cover. What's going to give there? The favorites ATS on Thanksgiving Day or our road grader and drive extender strategy, which have both been very successful this year. That's what stands out to me about the slate on Thursday.
Yeah, and I think, right now, why not? Let's get into some of our picks for week 12, including Thanksgiving Day games. What are some strategies you're looking at to make your Alloy Forecast picks?
So I'm starting with my drive extenders. Teams that convert on third down and don't turn the ball over. They are keeping their drives going. They're keeping my profitability going. So I've got the Giants to cover at +9. I've got the Bears at +4.5 and Atlanta at +4 over Washington going across both underdog buckets. I like having about 5 or 6 games in my slot. Gives me just, increases the sample size, reduces some of the noise going around with the strategy. So I might peek over to a road grader strategy, maybe take New England +3. Houston +12 at Miami is intriguing. And potentially also Vegas at Seattle. Not sure how I feel about those. Definitely going to ride with drive extender. We'll see if I peek into a couple other strategies like the road grade or even my ground and pound strategy.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm seeing some synergy here. One strategy I've mentioned before that I've been going with lately has been the defensive pressure strategy. I mean, defense has been really strong here in the NFL, and we see trends that are definitely pointing to better defensive pressuring teams leading to covers. So I'm going to start here with a pick that I'm feeling pretty good about, Detroit. And again, bucking the trend of the favorites and the road favorites. These are big numbers here, and Detroit's playing really well. 3 straight wins under Dan Campbell. Love to start seeing them finally pull out the victories at end of games. So Detroit, I have them in my defensive pressure strategy +9. New England is +3 at Minnesota. This game could get interesting, but I like New England in this one. It's also in the road grader, as you mentioned as well. And Tennessee, that's the early game that I like. Right now, they're +1.5. That's probably a money line play where you can get more value there. At home against Cincinnati. Some books have it 2.5. I see on PointsBet, but a good play there. From this point, though, a few games that look to be in different directions. I've got a few strategies that look towards both, so I'm going to monitor them throughout the week. But I'm going to start with my Thanksgiving Day picks: Detroit +9, New England +3, and then on Sunday I'm looking towards Tennessee to cover against the Bengals.
So bucking the favorites trend on Thanksgiving, sticking with the strategy data.
Yeah, this is more of a recency thing. I mean, Thanksgiving Day data is fun. Thursday football data is fun, but we've seen from all year that the underdogs are profitable really, really profitable. So I'm going to stick with that. I also just like the numbers where they are. Detroit always plays hard, especially on Thanksgiving Day games. I see this game being a little bit closer than many might expect. And we've also seen games with Detroit where you might expect a shootout, like this week where it might be a lower scoring game. So I could also see the under hitting, but a little early for that. But I think it's going to be an incredible slate of games on Thanksgiving from noon until the end of the Minnesota game. It's going to be a lot to watch and very entertaining.
Absolutely agree.
And excited to be eating turkey during Dallas. That's actually a great game. So really excited for those. I love when they're actually good, strong games. It looks like we've got all three of them. That'll be really intriguing instead of just watching football for the sake of football, which I love too. But you got some really telling matchups here that could dictate the outcome of different divisions here. So that Dallas game is going to be really fun to watch. Really big spread on that one. That's one to watch as well. So thank you so much for tuning into the Thanksgiving week episode of Band of Bettors. Check us out on Alloy Sports app and alloysports.com for our insights. Bet with data. It's how you win more bets. That's how we've been doing it. You see we're winning. Come with us, join our communities, and let's engage because, we're in it for the bettors. So let's win some more bets and have a great and happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you next week.